candidates that are coming up here for our election on this coming Tuesday. By the way, polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. My name is John Hayden, and I am currently the town moderator, and I'm also on the ballot for re-election coming up. I also serve as the school district moderator, and I sit on the planning board in town as well. Format tonight is going to be a pretty straightforward situation. We're going to have each of the candidates come up, give a 5-minute on who they are, why they're running, whatever else they'd like to share with everyone. And I would just like to make sure that everyone's aware that we are televising this tonight. So there are folks that weren't able to make it here, even though we've got a really great crowd, so that they can participate as well. So what I'm going to do is start with the town, and I'm just going to give a brief rundown myself to kind of break the ice for the candidates that have followed. I've lived in town all my life. My family actually has been in Newfields generationally. I think going back to before the United States was the United States. Giving back and serving with the town, volunteering my time is just something that our family has always done. I never really had the privilege of getting to know much of my family prior to my father, but my grandfather, my dad's dad, was a selectman in town for 25 or more years. My dad served as a moderator as well, and was also involved with town planning and zoning. So years back when Dad passed, it was a choice I made to step up and participate and become involved in town. So, when it comes to Tuesday, I hope you'll throw your vote my way for moderator. Again, I'm going to go down the list, and next up, we're going to start with the select board, and I'm just going to go right down the line. So, Betsy, if you would please come up.
Especially not to go first.
Well, I'm sorry, but that would be just fine.
No deals in this town. I'm Betsy Coves, and I'm running for the 3-year term of selectman. And I got to say, this is the best turnout I've seen in a long time. And that people are participating. I don't even care how you vote. You're here and you're interested. My husband's standing in the back next to our police chief. That's Steve, and the two of us moved to Newfields in 1980. There were 888 residents, and I think it all depended on who got born or who died, and it stayed that way for a long time. So, and in the 80s we moved here and had 2 sons. By the 90s, I was on the Board of Selectmen, and both my sons were in SAU 16, and they went all the way through, whole SAU. And let's see, I got on the board in 1988. I was appointed by the Superior Court because our Board of Selectmen could not agree on who to appoint. So the court appointed me, and that's how I started. And I've served 18 years or 6 terms on the Board of Selectmen, and that took me through the late 80s and into 2000s. I also served in the New Hampshire legislature for 5 terms, and that also includes the county. So I have a really strong working knowledge of government at the state, the county, and the local level. I've never figured out federal politics, so it ends there. And again, I'm blown away by how many people are here. It's crazy. And I took about 20 years off from politics and founded a rescue for feral cats. So I spent a lot of time chasing wild cats and working at Hannaford. And then when I got this opportunity to come on the board again, I didn't want to, and then I did and didn't. And the more I got into it, the more I realized how much I missed it. And just wanting to do people's business and do it fairly and respectfully and hopefully cheerfully. You can have some fun with this. But that's about it in a nutshell. Again, I'm running for the 3-year term. My opponent is Mike Sununu, for whom, believe it or not, I have a lot of respect for. And we butted heads, believe me. But no animosity. So I don't know if there are any questions here. I hope not. Don't you dare see. I am going to flee.
That's great, thanks. You did great. One thing I neglected to mention at the beginning is my format of how I was hoping this would all shake out, since we've never really done this before, but when we're done, if people do have questions, I just kind of ask that the candidates hang around for a little bit in case people want to ask. So that said, next on our slate of candidates is Michael Sununu.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Sununu. I'm running for re-election to the Select Board here in Newfields. I first ran for this position many years ago when the town was looking at a renovation here on Town Hall, and I thought that actually running for the board would be a good way to input and influence that. We were able to, actually serving on the board with the other members, improve the police department space, improve the town office space, at the same time preserving this space, which some of the plans actually had, moving our offices up to here, and doing it in a way that saved the town a lot of money and without having a serious impact on our tax rate. I mentioned this as an example of coming up with a solution that really helped the town, solved the problem, and was a fiscally responsible way of resolving the issues here in town. For the most part, that's what being on a select board is all about. It's solving problems, really. Whether it's cleaning up the property next to the school, whether it's working with the water and sewer department on the permit for Great Bay, whether it's trying to manage the public safety budgets and doing so in a way that it doesn't explode our budget and result in our tax rates going up. I think I've been able to do that over my time on the select board. Beyond my work on the select board, my wife Amy and I moved here 20 years ago. And almost from the get-go, we've been trying to be active in the community. I grew up in a family where public service was kind of a rite of passage. And we really understood it as a great way to not only contribute to the community, but to bring the community together. It's those things that you do, holiday celebrations, Memorial Day parades, putting up and taking down the flags around town, working to raise money here in town for the historic Hilton Marker or the Bellmead Eagle here on Town Hall. These are the things that Amy and I have committed to, not even including the town, my time on the select board, because giving back to the community is really how we can bring the community together and do the things that are important. I've tried to serve on the select board by following following this philosophy. I've tried to solve problems, be fiscally prudent. I've tried to work with people here in town to do what is right. I hope that I've earned your vote. I hope that I've done these things on your behalf in the town of Newfields, and I hope you'll vote for me on Tuesday. Thank you very much.
Next up on our slate of candidates is the select board for a 1-year term. going to start with Hobart Hobie Hunt.
My name's Hobie Harmon, and I'm running for the one-year term. Joni and I moved into Newfields in 2005. 5 years ago, in 2016, we were living up in Bridgewater, Newfoundland Lake area. It's time to downsize, move next to our kids, grandkids. We've got a Paso over in Durham, we've got a Paso in Portsmouth, we've got one in Okinawa in the Marine Corps, we've got one over in Bahrain in the Navy, and one in Montreal. And part of my lifetime has been growing up in small towns. I spent most of my life in small towns, with the exception of the time I was in the Marine Corps for 20 years, and then when I was in law school. But that's a whole other story. So what have I done since I've been in town? In the 5 years I've been here, been involved in planning and setting up for the Memorial Day Parade, participated in the Memorial Day Parade, arguing with that halyard on the flagpole there, because I never get the word ready when I'm standing there. And then last summer, I was one of the folks in town who was on the selection committee for the new police chief. And also, we're the house that puts out the skeleton display every Halloween. It puts smiles on people's faces and watch the kids. One of the things that I see as concern for the town, we are in extreme financial jeopardy in this country. As you know, inflation is going crazy. Gas and I bought diesel the other day, $4.61 a gallon, I think. This is really crippling people, so I really am a strong fiscal conservative, and I believe the money that's spent by the government is not the government's money, it's the citizens' money. And so every penny that's spent, you have to go through and put a sharp pencil to make sure that. Concurrent with that is public safety. So if you have public safety and you're prudent on your spending on public safety, you can meet those objectives of taking care of the fire department manning and the police manning and all those, and make it work. And still have funds for the neat things we do in this town. Okay? So, as I've gone through the town and talked to people about this stuff, we've been pretty fortunate, and there's been leadership on the select board, 2% maybe bump on the property taxes. The way things are going, there's potential for that to be more. We have to remember in town we have seniors on fixed income. We have single-family parents working 2 jobs, maybe. We could have 2 family parents working 3 jobs to pay the bills. With diesel fuel being the way it is, gasoline, food, we have to be proactive and make sure that we don't overburden these citizens. These are our friends, they're our families, and they're our neighbors. So that's a big priority for me, is make sure we go through it in detail. So as I've been out asking, talking to people, they say, okay, so you spent 20 years in the Marine Corps, and you flew commercially, you went to law school, and then you were in the New Hampshire legislature, and then so you were a policeman, you were a fireman, and an EMT. Have you ever had a business? And the answer is yes. Joni and I had an LLC that we put together and kind of hung it out there about 2004, and then the recession hit. It was a large piece of property we were trying to develop, and we hung on, so I know what it's like going, deal with the state, deal with DES, etc. So, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. There were many sleepless nights during that process. We were trying to make it all work, and the recession did not help, but it all turned out. So, what can you expect from me if you do me the honor of voting for me and I get elected? You can expect me to be prepared. You can expect me to be diligent. You can expect me to be accessible. And I will listen to every input. There is no corner on the market to good ideas from anyone. Everybody can come up with a suggestion that we work together. So that's what you can expect for. And if I can do anything to answer any questions, I'll stay as long as you need me to and talk to you tonight. Thank you for your time.
Next on the slate for the one-year term for select board is Charlotte Lake.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Lake, and I'm running for the one-year select board term. Since we moved here from Kenai, Alaska in 2009, my husband and I, and we bought the Newfields Country Store. It was such an honor to be able to be here, and we had such a welcoming crowd. We had a party right off the bat. People kept on coming into the store, wishing us, having us good wishes. And then I loved it right off the bat. Then about a month after I was in town, I came in and it was 6 o'clock in the morning. The volunteer fire department was in there and I was getting a cup of coffee and all of a sudden there was a pop and I looked and the cord from the reach-in cooler just kind of blew up and there was a fire that started. And they instantly put out the fire. And if they weren't there, I don't think that we would have that beautiful store to look at anymore. So I was so grateful. I went outside to take a breath, which I need right now. And Jack Feenstra's boys were there, and they were coming down the path. They were really young at the time, and Jack, the youngest, he put his hand over his face, and he says, "Oh no, it's the store." Well, I realized right then how important this store was to the community, and how it was my responsibility to keep this 150-year-old store a store for another 150 years. So I worked really hard. I started to volunteer and give back to the community that gave to me. Did a chili cook-off for the volunteer fire department. Started working with the celebration committee. Also volunteered for the school, the library. That I was on board for Main Street Art, and also was on the Exeter area ambassador. So why do I want to be on the select board? It's because I have always wanted to serve, and I wasn't able to do so much to do that while we were in Alaska because we never lived in the city limits. I couldn't do it while I was owning the store, and I feel like I can listen to everybody, to help everybody, and with my physical responsibility that I've had having a business for over 25 years, I know how to do budgets, and I think that I can do a good job in the time that we need. If there's any, and on a personal level, I really enjoyed running. This was really fun. Everybody has not been able to be out since we've had COVID, and I've met new friends and my old friends, and walking around town and talking to people, and it's just, we have such a wonderful community, and I want to give back. So I would really appreciate your vote this Tuesday, and my name is Charlotte Lake. Thank you.
So, next person probably needs no introduction whatsoever. Is our town clerk and tax collector, Sue McKinnon.
I've been town clerk and tax collector here in Newfield since 1988. When I first started, the population was 888 then. I processed motor vehicle registrations by hand and then used the typewriter. I posted tax payments by hand in these big ledger books about this big by hand. And I worked 5 hours a week. But 5 hours a week was great for me because I had 2 children at home, 2 small ones, and I went to school at night to earn my accounting degree. So after 15 years, the population had doubled. And the town office became automated, computerized, and my position became full-time. And that's when I realized that town clerk tax collector would be my career. And I'm glad I did, because I love what I do. And I look forward to the next 3 years, and possibly a few more after that, because I'm not ready to retire.
Next on the ballot is the moderator, but I've already spoken, so we're going to skip past that. Next up is the town treasurer candidate, who is Dave Mason. Dave, there you are right there.
Well, folks, a lot of you know me. I've been here since my family and I moved here in 1992. We were about 800 and some odd people at that time. Betsy helped us a lot with getting in. Town treasurer, my background, I'm a research scientist in various different fields of industrial chemistry. I was a deputy treasurer here in town for many years and asked to come on board as treasurer, which I've been doing for almost 3 years now. So that's me in a nutshell, and appreciate your vote.
Next candidate on the ballot is library trustee, and that would be Win Freeman, who I saw walk in. Where is he? There he is. All right, Win. Very good.
Hi everybody, Win Freeman, been in town for 20 years. Since moving in, my family's been a part of the library since day one. Love them, I think libraries are awesome. I think everybody should do that same thing. When we moved in, the library, had some issues with it and really got involved and wanted to be a part of it because I saw the future of what it could be. Some of you remember, there was no addition, overgrown. Amos Paul left us in a good place with the building, but the rest needed some work. And over the years, I served with some amazing trustees. Can't name them all, but they've been a really big help. But we have really feel responsible for bringing it up to par where it should be for the size of our town, and bringing in new people to help run the place. We've had some great people along the way. Some old timers like Doris, who really brought it a long way from the beginning to the people that we have now, Carl and Brittany and Cord. And bringing it along with the population and the people and the services that we have. And one of my goals was, if we're going to build something bigger and better, let's make it so it serves the community rightly so. Bring in a community garden, bring in after-school activities over the years, movie nights, things like that. Just really try and bring it together for the whole team, the whole town. And not just build something and say, hey, look, we did it, but really continuing to drive it and build it up and make it a really good service for the town. And if you want, I can share with you afterwards some of the numbers, because a lot of people say, hey, why do you need a library today? I mean, libraries are awesome. They are the heart and soul of the community. And some of the things that, I'll say that Corey and Brittany and Carl have done through the pandemic are unbelievable. I mean, reaching out to the community, trying to provide services for a town during something like this is pretty hard. They did an outstanding job. And I'm proud to serve on the board with Brendan Johnson and Jack Parnham. Really do a great job with me. We have a tremendous friend to the library that's Warren Saltman runs with that whole team. And constantly trying to donate money back into the town and provide us a service that we really need. And hopefully everybody will enjoy it. So I'm running. Hope you vote for me. Thanks.
Next up on the ballot is trustee of the trust funds. First candidate for that position is Al Bobst.
Al Bobst. My wife and I live on the Leathern Ridge Road. It's a cul-de-sac. I love cul-de-sacs. We came here in 1998. We came from Georgia, and our development probably had a population of 3,000 homes. So we came here and we loved it. I mean, this is just terrific. We landed with great neighbors. We came here because the school system for our daughter, who grew up in the school system here at SAU 16, low tax rate, and it was probably our house came on the market because there was so little inventory of homes in 1998. So I'm currently full-time employed by Monadnock Paper Mills out in Bennington, New Hampshire, and the COVID has kept me home. director of new business development, so I did a lot more travel pre-COVID. Been at home now. Our neighbor, Tom Rogers, was a trustee before, and when he came off a term, there was no candidates on the ballot. He came over to the house and said, "Hey Al, why don't you do a write-in, you know? Guaranteed to win. Really, is 10 votes." I lost my first election. But it was really time for me to serve the community. I think I really appreciate everyone that runs and everyone that serves this community, because that's what makes this community. So it was about time for me to run it. And then Sue gave me a call and she said, like, "Al, I don't have anybody on the ballot. Why don't you come on and join the ballot?" And Steve, who I was just sitting next to tonight that I just met, he signed up 5 minutes before I did. You have a choice. What's my qualifications? I've been in the business world, sales, marketing, product development. Probably the most significant thing, currently is I'm serving the second-year term on the finance committee of our church that we go to. And so I'm responsible, accountable, have integrity, and I'll do the best for the town, make the decisions for the town. Appreciate your vote.
Next candidate for the trustee of the trust funds is Yevich.
Good evening. Well, we actually have a horse race for trustee of the trust funds. I didn't realize Al was putting his name in, and I knew we had trouble in previous years, so, Anyway, you have a choice. I'm a retired finance and accounting professional in general management. My most recent major job was as chief financial officer for Briggs Home Security, which was a nationwide operation that's since been folded into ADT. We bought the Yellow House down on the river by the town landing 12 years ago and moved up here from Texas. It was a bit of a change. I got involved with Main Street Art pretty quickly after we settled in. I was treasurer at Main Street Art until we had to shut it down 2 years ago. I served as board treasurer for the Exeter YMCA in Camp Lincoln. I'm very active as a Marine docent in the UNH Marine docent program, doing educational outreach to schools. I'm at the point in my career where it's time to give back. So that's it in a nutshell. So, like I said, you have to make a choice.
Next candidate, cemetery trustee, Lynn Sweet. Uncontested, no choice. You have to vote for
it. As John said, I'm a candidate for the 3-year term of cemetery trustee. This will be my third term serving. My husband of almost 57 years, Dave, and I purchased our home here in Newfields in 1968. So I'm probably older than most of you people in this room. I graduated from the University of New Hampshire and got a Bachelor of Science degree. Ran the family business for 40 years, and it was an independent insurance agency. I earned my CIC, which is a Certified Insurance Counselor's designation. Was the first woman to do so in the state of New Hampshire, and served on several agency company advisory boards. We have, well, I can't call them children, but they were 2 children at one point. We have 2 grandchildren. And I've served on numerous boards and committees here in town. I served 9 years on the school board and the SAU board and chaired both of those. I've been ballot clerk for many years. And most of you probably recognize me from that because I check you in most of the time. Previously, we were very active in the NYAA, in the NPTO, when the Soup Mom Brigade existed. I don't know if any of you remember that, but before we had a cafeteria or any kind of hot lunch program, the mothers would go down and serve soup to all kids. And I'm still active in the Newfields Garden Club. You've probably seen me out there digging and weeding and doing that sort of thing. After retirement, I started volunteering at the town hall, screening and scanning. And I'm a proud 50-plus year member of the Daughters of the American Revolution. I have a keen interest in genealogy and in historical preservation, hence my desire to continue on the cemetery committee. And I appreciate your vote very much. Just to appease everybody's curiosity, this scar on my face, you should see the other guy. I just had a little battle with skin cancer, but I beat it.
Thanks, Lynn. Next candidate, supervisor of the checklist. I know it was Connie, but Constance Murphy Perna. You hear Connie? Yes, you are.
Thank you, John. I know, who's that? So my name is Connie Murphy. You'll see me on the ballot on Tuesday with a very long, formal-sounding name, Constance Murphy Perna. That's to affiliate with me with my very well-known husband, who's sitting with me tonight, Joe Perna, for many years. Was a guiding force and a leader in Main Street art in our community. I'm running for a second term as supervisor of the checklist. And I have the honor of serving on election day with Sue and John and Lynn and 2 other supervisors of the checklist. So you'll see me on election day and on voting day. The supervisors of the checklist have the responsibility for ensuring that our elections are free and fair and the people who should be voting are voting, and that our checklist is accurate and is up to date. So my term has carried me through 2 presidential elections and a number of town elections as well. We've done work with the Secretary of State's office on verifying the checklist so we know that it's up to date, and the people who are actually living in town and voting in town are the people who are on the checklist. So I look forward to seeing you on election day, you and other people in town, and if any of you have any questions about the voting process or about how this all works, I'd be glad to answer them at the end of our evening together. Thanks, and I appreciate your vote.
All right, so that takes care of the town side of things. We're going to move over to the school now, and we have 2 candidates for a 3-year term for a school board member. First candidate is Jennifer Bishop.
I wrote it down because I'm long-winded. So it's very formal. I'm not Jennifer. Well, I am, but I go by Jenny Bishop. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jenny Bishop, and I've lived in town since almost 11 years now, and I also grew up in Exeter. My husband Tom is a volunteer firefighter here in town. We have 3 children, 2 of which are at NES right now, and 1 who is at Great Bay Charter School in Exeter. I'm a graduate of Exeter High School. I was also frequented Newfields Main Street as a teenager, so I'm really sorry. I'm a proud Blue Hawk, and I'm excited to have my children grow up here in the tiny town of Newfields. Since my oldest was in kindergarten, he's now a 7th grader, I've been to nearly every school board meeting except the one where my daughter was born. It gives me a unique perspective in knowing the inner workings of the board. I'm the one in the audience that you hear all the time. My friend Jenny Bishop, yeah, that's me. I'm the one asking the questions all the time. So now I just want to sit at the table. I pride myself on being a person who finds solutions and does not sit idly by and wait for someone to fix a problem. In the past 8 years, I've had a strong voice for the community and supported teachers and students. I've been serving on the NES Budget Committee since 2016, and have served on the Principal Hiring Committee for David Foster, the committee to bring full-day kindergarten back to Newfields, which I forgot because it was so long ago. And most recently, I served on the COVID Transition Planning Committee. So needless to say, I like to throw my hat in the ring all over the place. Since moving to town in 2012, I've been involved in the volunteer organizations here in town. The biggest support of the Newfields Athletic Association. I've been on the board for the past 7 years and served for the past 4 years as president. In 2020, when we were unable to hold sports due to COVID, I came up with the idea of the front porch session. So some of you I may have photographed. We raised over $3,400 for the NYAA that year to keep our mowers running when we weren't able to play. I've donated my time for several events at the school, including immigration simulation. If you have a dog in town, I probably photographed it for an enrichment project. For the calendar, I've served as a photographer of the Sweetheart Dance as well as a coordinator. To say I love this town and this community is an understatement. As a mom of 3, it truly does take a village, and I love the village that we have here in Newfields. You always know that other parents have your back in this community. They always call out your kid in public. The town's sense of community has been rocked over the past 2 years, and I'd love to get that back. Let's get the parents back more involved in the school, the community back in the building, and help support the teachers who are absolutely amazing. My number one goal as a school board member is to be a voice of the community and our children. Our school was one of the top-rated schools in the state and has drastically dropped over the past few years. We were once a blue ribbon school, and I'd like to work closely with the principal, teachers, and staff to get back there again. I'm running for school board because it's time for the school board to prioritize the fundamental education of these kids. Focusing on bridging the academic gaps, bringing back a sense of community is very important. In the past, we've had response to instruction to help bridge these gaps, and it's something I'd like to look at bringing back. Our decline in rankings is appalling, and our kids are behind with no real plan in place to get them back. Money has been spent on technology, facility upgrades, and the administration raises, while teachers are being cut across the districts in a time where we need more teachers and not less. There are a few things that I would like to see to use as a gauge for the school's success. Testing has been talked about a lot in the past couple weeks, and it's a good baseline, however, it's not the big picture. We need to be looking at monthly and quarterly assessments of these kids and seeing where kids are falling behind and catching them up. We'd like to harness the kids who are excelling faster than their peers and give them the push that they need to keep going. If elected, I'll work hard to make sure that our budget makes sense and that we're focusing on what's important, the education of our kids. I'll work with the teachers and the staff to ensure that our resources they have the resources to accomplish this. Last year, when discussing the return to school was happening, many surveys were sent out and committees formed to discuss how that was going to happen. Unfortunately, none of this data was used to make the decision. Over 86% of the parents wanted their kids back in the building, even more so in Newfields. And our board voted to keep the kids remote. As a school board member, I promised to listen to the parents and make decisions based on what is best for the children, community members, and parents, even if that may not align with my own personal beliefs. As a school board member, I want to support the kids and the principal and the town and all the stakeholders in this community. I've been a voice of reason many times in the community when issues have become polarized. As someone with very independent views, I'm proud of my ability to take in all the information, make an informed decision, and therefore I believe I would make a great school board member, and I really hope for your vote.
Next candidate, school board member, 3-year term, Jane Walsh.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming out. This is great. So I'm Jane Walsh. I am running for re-election to the school board at Newfields. My husband and my family, we moved here with our 2 girls about 6 years ago. But I've lived in the Seacoast most of my life. I grew up here, I lived in Hampton. My husband and I moved from Raymond here. I've been here for a very long time. My ancestors actually lived in Exeter in the 1800s. And I am a member of DAR, which is kind of funny. But we moved here specifically, very specifically for the schools. We didn't just find a good school, we found a great town. Everybody has said that, and it's very true. My oldest is at CMS. She's an 8th grader. She loves math and sciences. And like everybody, she struggled last year. But this year, we're back in person. She's getting better. Everybody is getting a little bit better. Not back, but better. Nicole, my youngest, she's in NES. She's in 4th grade. She likes all of her classmates. She likes reading and writing. You'll see her reading now. And she is, makes her own books. Last year she had some struggles too, but we've been slowly getting over them all. And one of the things that has helped that is not only the community here, but her teachers and the principal and people that really made this whole difficult time a priority and made us all a community. Not everybody has had a great time, but these past few years, especially in education, it's been really rough. But I want to be part of this community even more than I am right now as a school board member. And I think I'm the best person to continue serving on the board. One of my main goals has been to ask a lot of questions. I do that on the board. It is my job to understand what the implications of my decisions are. I do take my kids in my heart, but they are not my decision makers. The community is, this school is what's going to happen to everybody. I listen carefully to everybody. I don't let that sway me. If I think that something might be a little off, I might take a little bit more time to make a decision, to make sure I have all the information that I need. We love living in Newfields. I want to contribute to making it more wonderful. I want to use my energy and skills and dedication to provide that leadership that our community needs. During my tenure on the school board, I've strived to make NES better. I was an integral part of the most recent principal search. We hired Susie Griffith just as the pandemic started. She has made transformational changes to our school. She has supported our children, their education, and the staff. She's created a summer program that I have never seen before. It is absolutely amazing. She has a commitment like no other. Nicole, like NES one, she loves being greeted by Susie. She thinks of her as an extension of her classroom. She's kind, she's loving, she's a great leader. At the most recent school board meeting on February 10th, she presented the current testing results. And if you hadn't seen the school board meeting from last, it's fantastic. We had double-digit growth in math and reading. For all of COVID and how that took us all down, we're starting on a road back forward. It's a slow one. We're not there yet, but we have a start. And that's what I'm most proud of, and that's what I want to continue to do. All of this demonstrates that our students are moving in the right direction. Not by leaps and bounds, maybe by steps, but we'll get to leaps and bounds soon. A lot of the kids that had growth did that by multiple grade levels. This points to the incredible foundation and support by all of our teachers. And I really look forward to amazing things with Susie. I think she is that turning point for NES. Our rankings have gone down, not just in the past year, but over the past 10 years. I believe Susie is the person to turn us around and make sure that we have that great foundation and great upward turn. The school board made much needed repairs and improvements for the building over the last 3 years. It is now a safer environment, and this helped our kids attend school. I've worked hard and kept the budget fiscally responsible. Oh, you're good. need a moment of levity. Oh, come on, don't blame her.
I'll do that next meeting.
I've worked hard and kept the NS budget fiscally responsible without sacrificing student needs. That's a priority. We've done that for 3 years and given ourselves just a little bit of buffer just to make sure that if an emergency happens, we're okay. But because of our responsible budget, we've been able to give back unused funds to taxpayers every year. We're not going to spend more than we need, but we need to spend for the kids in a responsible way. We got a lot of grants last year from COVID relief programs, and we were able to use less tax money because of that, which gave you more money back. I fully recognize that we have a community to serve, and taking advantage of grants and other opportunities is to help everybody. I've negotiated 2 teacher contracts and a paraprofessional contract. All were fair, everybody got raises, but again, we have to make sure we consider the impact of the community. They deserve a lot, so much more than I could ever give them, and they have my thanks and dedication to continue working for them and to continue making fair and balanced contracts for them. One of the main things I do is when I make decisions, I do so by taking in every single perspective. I look at expert advice and relevant information. I do come to the table prepared completely. And I prioritize impactful decisions based on what will most benefit the students and the community. All of our students and educators deserve to have the resources and support to be their best. The students at NES need the help, support, and tools needed for their future success. We have amazing teachers, phenomenal paraprofessionals, and staff. They're poised to do great things. I truly believe that in the upcoming years. The students in our community deserve the best education. I will continue to support and advocate for them so they have the best possible environment to reach their goals. My kids are in these schools, as well as Jenny's. We both have a great relationship with everybody in the community. I know there's still a lot of work to be done. I want to continue working for everybody's success. I greatly appreciate your support. If you have questions or want to talk, I know everybody's going to be here for a little while, so please let me know. Thank you so much for listening. I do appreciate it, and I hope that you enjoy coming. Thank you so much.
So the last ballot that we have is for the cooperative school district. I understand that the first candidate, unless I missed him, Donald Cardinelli, is not here this evening, but Tricia Cox is. So. Thanks, Tricia.
Just on the verge of needing these, so we'll see how we do. But I'm going to also try not to read this. But it was really fun to walk in and to hear the threads of the community and to hear how everyone's stories wove together. When I first started here, we came in 2006. We moved into what our son then called the yellow house on the corner because he couldn't pronounce corner. And we moved into our house I had never even seen the house. I just fell in love with it from what was online, and to this day, we're still close friends with the people that we bought it from and just loved it so much. My background goes from my great-grandfather actually delivered mail in New Hampshire. My mom was born up in Etna, New Hampshire. And I think the one thing that I've loved to hear from everyone that came tonight was their love for the community and the state that we live in. So it was really nice to see that and hear that. I hope what you'll remember about me today, I'm running for the Budget Advisory Committee because I've had a life and a passion for public education my entire professional career. So I have a lifelong commitment to public education. I've been a certified special educator, a child life specialist, licensed certified school social worker, and I believe that my experience is well suited for this role. I've worked as an educational consultant for a very long time for a variety of different organizations and institutions. I'm currently social work faculty at the University of New Hampshire, which is a job that I absolutely love. And prior to that, I've worked in special education for close to 10 years for a Seacoast school. And so with that, the budgets in the school system are a significant part of special education. I understand the laws and the money that goes along with that. So that was a big part of why I wanted to support our schools with this. I have a bachelor's in science and a master's in special ed from Bank Street College, which is an awesome teachers college in New York City that I highly adore, and also an MSW from UNH. And so it's really nice to be teaching at my alma mater. And I have a 16-year-old, I'm not pressuring him, and he's not watching, but it's a great school. So, so I have a strong history of leadership too, just hearing about the library. I think I was here for just a couple of months when
you know, the call came to help with Friends of the Library, and I was involved with that, president of Friends of the Library for over 5 years, raising funds and working with the librarians, and I see Lee over there, and just the work that I really did it because the first friend that I met in town was through the library through a story hour when my son was running around hitting his head with huge bruises. I remember being like a little worried because he had a big bruise on his head from knocking it into the fence there. But so the library and just doing events in town, I think it was the next step after that I got involved with the celebration committee and co-chaired that with a dear friend for over 13 years. So bringing the town together at the holiday celebration. Nationally, I have been on 2 national boards, one of which is a treasurer for a member organization for over 5,000 people and a $2 million budget. And then also on another national board for National Association of Social Workers, which is an incredible organization with hundreds of thousands of members. That was fiscally responsible for their budgets too. Also, I've been involved with Richard McFarland Children's Center. If anyone knows about it, it's just the most incredible early supports and services agency over in Stratham. Peggy Small-Porter used to live in town, and she is my local hero. She's just fabulous, and love every year that I've had on that. I was on that for 6 years, and we always were successful. They just merged with Waypoint. So I wanted to run for this. I was sort of asked to run for this by a couple of friends. I think it's a great way to support our schools, our teachers in the SAU, and I think that it's just a great way to give back. So thank you for your time. And I tried to keep things short and sweet, especially I know everyone has it's Sunday night and everyone wants to get back, but what I loved about tonight was hearing how everyone here wants to be here to help. So thanks.
Great. All right, so that concludes the candidates night. I'd like to just thank all of you, candidates in particular, for putting your hats in the ring and getting on the ballot. I'd like to remind everybody to please come out on Tuesday and vote. Again, the polls will be open from 8 in the morning until 7 at night. You can same day register if you're not registered. So at this time, if people would like to mingle and ask questions of the candidates, please feel free. Again, thank you all for coming out. Appreciate your time tonight. Hope everyone has a great evening.